Hey, what's up, YouTube? I wanted to come on and talk about Neverness to Everness, which is a new game that has been announced by the same developers as Tower of Fantasy. Tower of Fantasy, I have never personally played. It was during a period of time where I just wasn't really playing gacha games, but obviously I've heard quite a lot about that release and that game, and this release is really exciting because new gacha games equals very, very cool. So I wanted to go ahead and give you my thoughts about this and see what the community is thinking, because I actually think this looks really, really cool. So I figured we'd look at the gameplay and talk about it together. Subscribe. I never played Tower of Fantasy. I wasn't in the community at the time. I was sort of off doing my own thing. I think I was playing a lot of League of Legends or ARAM at the time. But I obviously understand that the release was just about as disastrous as it could have gotten, given that it was an MMO and there was a lot of cheating and hacking and stuff like that, to my understanding. And I was actually thinking about trying Tower of Fantasy, mostly because I've heard that nowadays it's a lot better and works a lot better. And I have a couple friends who still play it, so I was kind of interested in trying it anyway, and I think this has actually incentivized me further to check out Tower of Fantasy, so that as we cover this new game, NTE, definitely not NTR, hee. I figured maybe I could have a better look at where the developer has gone since Tower of Fantasy's release, because that was obviously more or less a complete disaster on every single level. But this game, I have to say, I'm actually really, really excited for. It is an open world JRPG, obviously gacha game with an urban fantasy setting. It seems like it's got kind of a ghost story sort of thing about it, which I'm really, really interested in. And I have to say, I'm really, really excited for this. For me, I think with Wuwa, the open world formula was so incredibly similar to Breath of the Wild. And I realized quickly that maybe I kind of want like a different sort of vibe, a different sort of feel, which is sort of what I've been enjoying about Zenless. Obviously not an open world game, but I think that sort of like very serious, sort of old-timey or post-apocalyptic, but not quite modern feel has started to get a little bit tiring to me. It's not necessarily what I'm looking for so much in games right now. I don't know if this is shared by the community. This is just a personal take. And this isn't really me shitting on Wuwa or anything. It's more so just like, I'm starting to realize I just sort of want a little bit more modern, a little bit less Zelda-y kind of vibe. I think this is actually really cool for that reason. I love that this is giving sort of Night City, GTA, sort of Jujutsu Kaisen side sort of vibes. I think that's really neat, and I'm really excited for that. I want more variety from gacha, and I understand that some older mobile-only gacha games do have more of that variety. I've played a lot more gacha games than people give me credit for. I don't need to list all of my qualifications, but people kind of only assume that I've only ever played like Genshin and Wuthering Waves, and that's it. I played quite a lot. Obviously, I've played more in the Hoyo bubble because those are the more popular games and more the games that I've preferred. But I'm really excited for this to come out. It gives a different vibe, and I think that there is already a lot of skepticism via the developer, because Tower of Fantasy was, to my understanding, an absolute train wreck. And so a lot of people are seeing this and they're like, oh, it looks cool. Who's it by? Oh, Tower of Fantasy's developer? Yeah, I'm good. It's gonna be horrible. But I think I'd like to come into this project with a level of optimism. I'd actually sat down originally to make this video because I thought that they were going to be releasing this game in September, because it said more in September 2024. And I was like shocked and bewildered. I was like, y'all are releasing this game in 2 months? No beta test, no nothing. I've come to realize that most likely it's just that they're going to be giving more detailed information in September, which I'm glad to hear, because releasing a game like this without a beta test or anything would be kind of insane. The game looks really cool. I like the characters. I think that this footage does look a little rough and questionable at some times. The car driving mechanic looks a little bit clunky. It's obviously earlier footage. Like it says, it does not represent the final quality, but I think the character designs look fun. I'm really excited that they've added vaulting. They have a double jump. I think the whole car mechanic is really cool. I'd love it if they made a little bit of a GTA system of doing crimes. I would love to run over pedestrians and cause problems in a city in a hot pink sleigh vehicle. It looks really fun and really interesting, and I'm so excited for just something that feels different. I think that's part of like a huge part of why I've really been enjoying Zenless Zone Zero is it just doesn't feel the same as the games that I've played the most of, which is going to be HSR, Genshin, and WoW, let's be honest. I like that Zenless has sort of a different vibe, a little bit more today, a little bit more modern, a little bit more silly, a little bit less like amnesiac hero has to save the world kind of vibe and story. I had a complaint recently about open worlds in a video that I think ultimately did have something to do with a bit of, I don't know, not thinking about things very holistically, and I had a bad reaction to that, which I genuinely do think was pretty fair, because I do really like Wuthering Waves. I still play Wuthering Waves quite a lot, but I think that ultimately more so what my desire was, not even necessarily a complaint or shitting on open world gacha games that already exist, which there's like 2 of them, but I guess my desire was for an open world gacha game, or just gacha games in general, that sort of do it differently, because I think that this feels a lot more exciting to me than sort of these grassy areas where you explore around and just beat up enemies. It looks very alive and very real. There's this really exciting thing for me in this new, in more games coming out with Azure Promelia. I don't know if Project Mugen is actually coming out or what's going on with that. I've heard a lot of like weird chatter about that game. I don't know if that game is real or if it's changing names or if it's not going to continue to be developed. I have no idea what is going on with Project Mugen, but Azure Promelia I'm really excited for, because I think it leaned a little bit more heavily into kind of the Pokemon aspect of things, and it looked really pretty. And so I'm still excited for that game, even though it is that closer to an open world, sort of grassy world thing. I'm excited for this game because it's a totally different kind of open world that looks really interesting to run around in. There's some interesting traversal things that are shown later in this gameplay footage. I'm really hoping that this developer has learned from their previous experiences, because if this game has anything close to the level of issues, even to like when WoW was released, I think that this developer is going to have a very hard time recovering from that with their reputation. But if they can actually produce something that works and is fun and has high quality and doesn't have very severe optimization issues, I'm really, really looking forward to this release. This is also being released on the same, on a similar engine to Wuthering Waves, but Wuthering Waves, I believe, was on Unreal Engine 4, and this is on Unreal Engine 5, which hypothetically speaking means that this game will actually have fewer optimization issues because it is the more updated version of that graphics engine. I believe this is also looking like it's going to launch with console, which I think is fantastic, because this looks like a really, really fun game to play on console with the driving around on cars and stuff. And I think that WoW not releasing on console was, albeit an understandable mistake, given that they were already having so many optimization issues. Probably also releasing it on console would have heightened that issue, but it was ultimately something that did hurt the game. I think putting it on console would have been a really big deal, and I hope that they are working toward doing that very, very soon. But if this releases on console, I think that's going to be a great benefit to it. The music that has been in both of these trailers has been really fun. The characters look great. The animations look great. It's gonna really be, I think, in a lot of ways, can they deliver on this product? This has a really big scope, bigger scope that I think in some ways than even something like Wuthering Waves has, because it's like a whole city that needs to be rendered in. There's a lot of moving pieces on this. This is a really complicated world. I mean, if you just look around, it's got a lot going on. This is really exciting. Being able to run around backwards and stuff looks really cool. So like this has a really big scope. It has a really big concept, it has a big idea. And the real question is are they going to be able to, you know, achieve that and take advantage of how much potential this concept actually has? If they can, I think this is going to be huge in the gacha, you know, the industry, in the community, whatever, because it shows like how much gacha can be. I think for me, what I've been wanting is more innovation from gacha games. And maybe I've been a bit jaded. I don't know if jaded is the word, but a bit blind to what options can be just within games that have already existed. I think this style, like different styles of open world can be great. I have a lot of I have skepticism and doubts because like even just having destroyable terrain and stuff like that does really increase how difficult of a game this is gonna be for them to make work. But I think it looks really cool. I think the characters look nice. The animations look pretty neat. I think that there's a cool animation style that they're doing with their abilities and stuff where it looks kind of comic booky around some of them, which I think is neat. neat. I have a lot of excitement for this project. I think a lot of people are like really skeptical and kind of down on it instantly just because it's by the same developers of TOF, but I really want more in the gacha community. And so the more games that come out that are fun and different and interesting and exciting, the better it's going to be for the whole community and for the industry as well. And this really captures that. I think the name is super dumb. Neverness to Everness. I don't know what they were like going for with that. It's kind of horrendous. I'm not gonna lie. NTE is also so questionable when you're like in an anime, you know, big anime community, but I think the characters look really cute. If the gameplay is fluid as it looks in this, you know, gameplay teaser, I think it's gonna be great. I'm really just excited for games that do different stuff. I think that there's so much more that gacha can do than has been done. And I understand that there is a cost-benefit analysis there where it's understandable that gacha games don't want to innovate too far away from the things that they already know work because ultimately they're interested in making money. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I am so tempted to make this like, oh my god, is this the ZZZ killer thumbnail? Pog face. This is the Wuthering Waves killer. Pog face, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna do a different thumbnail. I'm learning about how my thumbnails have affected people's view of my content. I'm trying to get better with that. I'd love it if you go watch my last video. I can't do this anymore, I believe is what I called it. I'm really trying to take stock of my effect on the community. The way that I package my content affects the view of that content and how I'd like to continue forward. I think gacha games are fun and we can talk about issues and be critical about games and have our opinions and not fence it and, you know, have a nuanced personal opinion that is not based on what the community thinks or whatever, and also hypothetically not bunker down on one side of things and not contribute to tribalism. And that is going to be what my goal and intention is. I'm going to continue making takes off stream if I want to have takes off stream. Reaction content I will still continue to do because I think it's a lot of fun. I appreciate all of those who have given genuine helpful feedback because I have actually genuinely been taking it to heart and trying to think about how I'm going to change my content in the future. Words have very little effect, actions have a lot, and I want to have a positive impact on the community. Does that mean I'm not going to cover quote-unquote drama content? No, I think that content is very interesting. Talking about those situations I think is important regardless of what everybody else in the comments section thinks when they hate it. However, how I will be covering it, my goal is to be less sensational and less tribalistic and more fair. And will I succeed in that instantly? Almost certainly not. I think that's kind of impossible, but I am going to be trying my best to change the way that I package my content and change my approach to content because I think up until this point, I have made mistakes or not been true to my own personal perspective, and it has led people to understand me in a way that doesn't feel true to me, and that feels frustrating to me, but is also my fault. So, coverage of this game, very excited. I'm very excited to learn more in September. I hope that if they have a beta test, I'll be able to get into it because I am really looking forward to supporting this project because if they can make this work, I am so freaking down. I really like this character, by the way. I think this is so freaking cute. She's adorable. But the more games come out, the more potential for controversy there is, and I don't think that everything needs to be controversial, but I do think that having critical, thoughtful opinions and talking about issues is absolutely vital to every space and an important thing and something that I still want to do. So it is about finding the middle ground in things and figuring out where I want to go from there. So let me know what you think about that in the comments about what I'm talking about. I understand that I can't change everything in a day. I'm looking for progress, not perfection. Let me know what you think about this new release, this new announcement for NTE. I'm actually really excited. I think it looks really cool. And I will see you guys on the next one. I am still taking my break from streaming, but I just want to make content. I can't really stop doing it. So I will see y'all later. Be safe, drink water, go touch some grass. I'm gonna try and touch some grass today as well. Baba Booey Tea Snuts. Boo bye!